When Daniel Ashford was 19 years old, he stood in a cold marble hall and raised his right hand. His voice did not tremble when he swore loyalty. His words were clear, precise, and empty of doubt. An oath, after all, was not meant to be questioned. It was meant to be obeyed. From that day forward, Daniel belonged to something greater than himself. He learned early that love was a distraction, that emotions blurred judgment, that the heart, if listened to too closely, could lead a man into weakness. These were not cruel lessons, just practical ones passed down by men who had survived by believing them. Daniel survived too. Years passed. He became known as reliable, disciplined, unshakable, the kind of man who never hesitated and never asked why. When orders were given, he carried them out. When sacrifices were required, he made them, quietly, without applause. He was respected, but never truly known, and that was how he wanted it. Until the winter he met Clara. She entered his life without ceremony, as most life-altering moments do. She was assigned to assist his unit temporarily, civilian oversight, they said. Daniel barely noticed her at first. She spoke softly but with conviction, and she looked people in the eyes when they talked, as if she believed everyone deserved to be seen. Daniel found that unsettling. Clara asked questions, not accusatory ones, curious ones. She wanted to understand how things worked, why decisions were made, what it felt like to carry responsibility that heavy. Daniel answered with facts, not feelings. It was safer that way. But Clara listened differently. When Daniel spoke, she didn't interrupt. She didn't challenge him. She waited, as if there was more beneath his words, and as if she had all the time in the world to find it. One evening, after a long day, they found themselves alone in the office. Snow fell quietly outside the window, turning the world pale and soundless. "Do you ever get tired?" Clara asked. Daniel didn't look up from his reports. "Tiredness is irrelevant," she smiled, not amused, not mocking, just sad. "That wasn't an answer," she said. He paused. The pen hovered above the paper. "I don't have the luxury of being tired," he replied finally. Clara nodded slowly. "That sounds lonely." The word struck him harder than he expected. Lonely. Daniel had endured hunger, fear, and loss. But loneliness? That implied absence, a space where something should be. Daniel had never allowed himself to imagine such a space. He closed the file and stood. "We should go," he said, more sharply than necessary. But that night, alone in his apartment, Clara's words echoed in the silence he had never named. Love did not arrive like a storm. It came like erosion, slow, quiet, inevitable. Daniel began to notice the way Clara laughed when she forgot herself, the way she held her mug with both hands when she was cold, the way her voice softened when she spoke about her younger brother, who believed the world was kinder than it actually was. And worse, he noticed the way he felt around her, unsteady, aware, human. He hated that feeling. When Clara brushed her hand against his by accident, Daniel felt a rush of something dangerously close to hope. He pulled away instantly, ashamed of his own reaction. That night, he reminded himself of his oath, of the life he had chosen, of the man he was supposed to be. A man like him did not fall in love, and yet love did not ask permission. The order came unexpectedly. Daniel was called in alone. The room was sterile, the tone official. There was a mission, sensitive, urgent, classified. Information had leaked. Someone within the oversight program was suspected. Clara's name appeared on the screen. Daniel felt his chest tighten, but his face remained calm. "You are to observe," the superior said. "If the suspicion is confirmed, you will act." Daniel nodded automatically. That was what he did. That was who he was. But something inside him cracked. For days, Daniel watched Clara. Every smile felt like a knife. Every honest question, every act of kindness felt incompatible with the accusation hanging over her head. He wanted to believe in her, but belief was not evidence. And yet, his heart whispered what his oath refused to hear. One evening, unable to bear the weight alone, Daniel confronted her. "Have you ever lied to me?" he asked. Clara looked startled. "No," she said. "Why would you ask that?" He searched her face for guilt, for fear, found only confusion and hurt. "Because if you had," he said quietly, "it would destroy more than you realize." Clara stepped closer. "Daniel," she said softly, "what's going on?" He almost told her everything. But oaths do not bend easily. The truth revealed itself too late. Clara was innocent. The leak traced elsewhere. The mission was called off. Apologies issued, procedurally and personally. Daniel stood alone afterward, hands shaking for the first time in his adult life. He had been ready to destroy the woman he loved. Because loving her had not been enough, Clara found him that night. She could see it in his eyes, something broken, something grieving. "I know," she said before he could speak. "I know you were watching me." Daniel swallowed hard. "I'm sorry," he whispered. She studied him carefully. That wasn't what hurt the most. He looked at her, eyes filled with something dangerously close to tears. "What hurt," Clara continued, "was realizing how little room there is in your life for love." Silence stretched between them. "I don't know how," Daniel admitted. "I was never taught." Clara stepped closer and placed a hand over his chest. "Then learn," she said. Learning to love did not make Daniel weaker. It made him braver. For the first time, he questioned orders. He acknowledged fear. He allowed himself to need someone. Loving Clara meant accepting the possibility of loss and choosing her anyway. When Daniel finally stood before his superiors again, he did not raise his hand. He spoke instead. "I honor my oath," he said, "but I will not betray my humanity to keep it." The cost was high. It always is. But when Daniel walked away, he was no longer empty. Clara was waiting for him outside. She took his hand, not as a reward, not as a promise, but as a choice. Between the oath and the heart, Daniel had finally learned. A man is not defined by what he swears to protect, but by whom he dares to love.